My name is Brady Sprick, and this is my Mechatronics Trainer Lab project. Here is my operator's manual, and this is where I'll go over a little bit of the initial startup as well as process throughout it. To start up, you'd want to open your robot program. Um, you want to make sure you have the right program as it shows here, and then you will click the enable button under the picture of the robot, and then you will click homing for the robot to start the homing process. Once the robot is finished homing, you'll click the run button at the top of the middle of the screen, and then from there you will hold both stop buttons on stations 2 and 3 for 6 seconds till all the lights on the stack light turn on. And then you'll want to make sure all pucks are cleared from the station, and then once you do that, you will click the start button on station 2, and that'll start the homing process for the stepper motor. And then once that is completed, you can go ahead and hit the green start button on station 1, and that will start your actual project. Here's just a short clip showing the robot homing. And as you can see here in the top right corner of your screen, this is the screen you'd be looking at for your robot program. And here you'll see me holding both of the stop buttons on station 2 and 3 to completely system reset the entire process, and then hitting the start button on station 2 for it to home. So as you can see here, the vacuum plunger is just going in and out, picking up the pucks from the pusher and then dropping them onto the stepper table, which will then move it around to check the height of the puck to make sure it is a good puck. And then once it does that, it will, if it's a good puck, it'll push it through to the next station and we'll drop it down on the conveyor, which then it'll be determined on whether it's a aluminum puck or a black puck based off the sensors there. And then if it doesn't detect one of those two, then it'll just run the conveyor until that retroreflective sensor is tripped for the all shoots. And as you can see here, once it realizes that sensor's tripped and it stays tripped, it will not push another puck through until that robot comes through and it clears that sensor and shows that it has room for another puck. And then here you'll see that sensor on the back side of the stack light there tripped, saying that that puck was over height, so then it came back and rejected it into the reject chute. And here you can see that reject chute is full, and once it stays full for a certain amount of time, then the red light flashes indicating that that reject chute is full, and then it'll stop the process until you clear that reject chute so it knows it has room still. All right, and I'm getting into it here. This is my PLC program. On this main routine there, you saw it was just a bunch of jump to subroutines to get us to the actual different parts of the program. Here is the messaging protocol because I'm messaging between my compact logic to three different micro 820s. So I have to message for each individual one to get the values from it. Here's my first station. I split it up into the first station, second station, third station, and then I also have the stepper home and the stepper running. I split it up into each of these different stations to make it a little bit easier to troubleshoot if there was something to be wrong, so I knew exactly um which station it was that was having issues. I could go into that program and know, or that subroutine, and know that's what that whole thing is, and I could pay attention to that single subroutine to know to try and troubleshoot out what is going on. And then getting into it here, I used ignition for my HMI display. Um, I used two different users. You can use more depending on what you want to add, but the two users I used was SCADA user and then my personal user. I use that for the security functions here because, as you can see, the SCADA user is a operator, but it is not an administrator or supervisor, so we do not want them to be able to have access to go in and set the different set points for each individual counter and timer, but they'll still have access to run the actual system based off of the start stop, system reset, and then the stepper home button. And then you can see here I have my stack light as well as all of the puck counts for how many of each kind of puck. Now, as you see here, I clicked that stop button while there was a puck in the stepper table. So it knows there's a puck there that's ready, but I paused the system so it's a flashing yellow light to let you know that there's a puck ready, but your system is paused. And that robot will finish out the rest of its process, and then it'll go back to the starting position and then stop. And then once I hit the start button, it'll start the process again. Here I'm going to log out and I'm going to log into the other user account just to show you the access to all the set points. As you can see, I have split it up into each individual station's own set points, so it would make it a little easier knowing which timers you were changing for each individual station, so you wouldn't run into any issues with accidentally changing the wrong set point for the wrong timer or counter. All right, and then coming to the end here, a few things that went wrong were the puck grabber wouldn't consistently drop the pucks into the same spot on the stepper table. So we had to make a few adjustments on that so it would drop it consistently to the same spot. And then another thing we had issues with was the pucks dropping off of the stepper table onto the conveyor. The conveyor wasn't moved far enough back, so occasionally that wouldn't either trip the sensor or it would fall between the stepper motor and the actual conveyor. And then the system wouldn't run because they didn't recognize that a puck had dropped through. And then things that went well, I felt were the troubleshooting of the parts of my program that didn't work well once I got the majority of it done. That was one of the things I felt went really well. And then one of the things I felt that could be improved was my time management skills. I just didn't feel like I got everything done in a timely enough manner. In conclusion, it went pretty well, and I'm happy with the success of this.